Good evening, everyone. My name is Russell Greatwood, and tonight I'm going to review a proposal that has been proposed this offseason in the NFL in regards to an onside kick and changing it for a more exciting finish. I would also like to introduce my audience, my lovely wife, Mrs. Wood. All right, first I want to talk a little bit about what an onside kick is and the purpose of the onside kick. Onside kick gives a team a chance to come back at the end of the game if they are trailing and going for a tie, or most exciting, if they can get the ball back and go for a win. What the onside kick is where you kick the ball off from your own 40-yard line. The ball has to travel at least 10 yards. Most oftentimes the kicker does what is called a little pooch kick, where it's just going to go a few yards, bounce, and of course, as you know, in the NFL, it's going to squib around the way a football is, and hopefully, from the onside kicking team's perspective, you will be able to recover that ball and then be able to drive down with, once again, the attempt to score and tie or win the game. Now, onside kicks are very difficult to recover. According to NFL.com, in 2019, 63 onside kicks were attempted. Only 13 were recovered, which is good for only 13%. So that means that obviously onside kicks, give or take, only 1 in 10 are recovered. That kind of ruins that dynamic, exciting finish that we're talking about. Now, this proposal would be that the team who just scored, in lieu of an onside kick, gets one chance of 4th down and 15 from their own 25-yard line, and they must achieve a first down. Now, let me review that a little bit. That means that the team goes for it with their offense on the field, with the opposing defense on the field. They get one play, 4th and 15, which means they must get to the 40-yard line from the 25 in one chance to continue their possession. Now, according to NFL.com, in 2019, only 7 4th and 15s or greaters were attempted, but 2 were actually converted. That's good for 28.6% success rate. So what we're talking about here is a greater chance for the trailing team to basically, in essence, come back at the end of the game going for the tie or the win. Now, Mike Florio from NBC.com had a good point about this. The issue is, at the end of the game, of course, especially if you've watched, opposing defenses can get very tired. Put yourself on the field at the end of the game. Say your team's ahead by 7, 10 points. The opposing team drives down and scores. Let's say there's only about 1 minute left in the game. In lieu of an onside kick, they would opt to go for the one play 4th and 15 from their own 25. That means, as a coach, you have to keep your defense on the field to try and stop the opposing offense from converting, which, like I mentioned, they would be very tired, giving the offense the edge with the adrenaline as well as the momentum of the game on their side, and oftentimes the crowd also on their side. If they were to go for the traditional onside kick, both teams would trot out their special teams units, which are actually usually backups, second and third stringers to the offense and defense, so basically a pair of fresh legs. So, in essence, what I want to say is, this new 4th and 15, there are some pros and cons, but instead of the onside kick, we think that this offers a more exciting and breathtaking finish to some of these NFL games, which, as fans, that's exactly what we all want. Everybody knows that if they're watching a game and it turns into a blowout, no chance for the other team to come back, oftentimes people are left flipping on Netflix to see what the greatest next series is. Now, with that being said, the NFL would like to hear any suggestions from fans as well as analysts and players, and we are going to consider all of this going forward if this rule change is to be put in effect before the 2020 season. which would be starting this September. Now, Mrs. Greatwood, would you have any final questions before we wrap this up tonight?
Yes, Mr. Greatwood, I have two final questions.
Okay.
The first one is, in the event that the Ravens would attempt this new rule, do you think Lamar Jackson would make an ankle-breaking run, or do you think that he would pass the ball?
Well, we do know Lamar is one of the most dynamic players in the game. I think that even with his ankle-breaking skills, if you saw last season, he would go for a pass play. I think the coach would pretty much tell him, hey, you got to air it out, pass it, do not run it. They're going to be watching you, and they most likely will be able to stop you. You said you had one other question?
Yes, Mr. Greatwood, I do have one other question. So, how often do you personally think this is going to be used this next season?
I would say possibly about one out of every 4 games. So we're talking about every Sunday, perhaps 2 to 3 times. There's usually about 13 or 14 games per Sunday. So we're looking at possibly, 3 or 4 times every single NFL week, which once again is going to offer a lot more breathtaking finishes for our fans. I do want to throw one final thing out there. There was one very well-known player who many will know because of last night's mega deal signed. Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes went for a 4th and 15 in this last Super Bowl, Super Bowl 54. He actually completed a 30-yard pass play to his number one wide receiver, Tyreek Hill. This is what jump-started the Chiefs' last 5 minutes comeback, and in the end, they won Super Bowl 54, and Mahomes was crowned the MVP. When he was asked about this rule change, he tweeted about it, and he simply just offered up a couple laughing emojis, which lets you know how he feels about the change. All right, fans, I hope you can think about this moving forward and see what we can do, and everyone have themselves a wonderful night. Thank you.